In the early 2000s, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were Hollywood's golden couple. He was the most desired man in the world. She was America's sweetheart. Together, they seemed untouchable. On the surface, their marriage was perfect. Red carpets, magazine covers, the picture of happiness. But behind closed doors, something was missing. And then came Mr. and Mrs. Smith. On set, Pitt met his new co-star, Angelina Jolie. At first, just another Hollywood partnership. But soon, whispers began to spread. Whispers of a chemistry too strong to ignore. What started as a movie role would ignite one of the most infamous love triangles in Hollywood history. And inevitably, the golden couple of Hollywood came crashing down, and it left the world asking, why did Brad Pitt walk away from Jennifer Aniston and choose Angelina Jolie? Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's story began in the late 1990s, at a moment when both were at the height of their fame. Jennifer had become a household name thanks to Friends. As Rachel Green, she was the woman everyone adored, charming, funny, relatable. Brad, meanwhile, was the ultimate movie star. With roles in Legends of the Fall, Seven, and Fight Club, he had proven himself more than just a pretty face. To millions, he was the most desirable man alive, the definition of a leading man. When they started dating in 1998, it was as if two worlds collided. Television's brightest star and Hollywood's most eligible bachelor. The press went into a frenzy. Paparazzi trailed their every move, fans plastered their photos across dorm rooms and beauty salons, and magazines hailed them as the couple that proved fairy tales were real. When they appeared together on red carpets, the cameras didn't just flash, they exploded. In July 2000, Brad and Jennifer were married in a lavish Malibu ceremony that reportedly cost over $1 million. Helicopters buzzed overhead trying to capture the event, while fireworks lit up the Pacific sky. To the world, this wasn't just a wedding, it was a coronation. Brad and Jen weren't just another celebrity couple. They were Hollywood royalty. For years afterward, they seemed inseparable. Glossy magazines ran cover stories calling them the perfect pair. They spoke glowingly of each other in interviews. Brad described Jen as his best friend, while she often said she felt lucky to have found someone who understood the pressures of fame. To fans, they weren't just actors playing roles. They were living proof that love could survive the madness of Hollywood. At least, that's how it looked from the outside. But beneath the glossy photos and the red carpet smiles, small fractures were already forming. Like many Hollywood couples, Brad and Jennifer lived under relentless pressure. The constant scrutiny of tabloids, the flashing cameras, the expectation that their marriage would be as perfect as their public personas. In reality, they were two people with very different visions of the future. Jennifer was still riding the wave of Friends, pouring her energy into the show that defined an era. She loved the camaraderie, the stability, the sense of routine that came with working on a long-running sitcom. Children, she admitted in interviews, would happen someday, but she wasn't ready yet. Brad, on the other hand, was in a different phase of his life. Nearing his 40s, he was eager to settle down, to start a family, to find a deeper sense of purpose beyond the next movie role. The press, always hungry for conflict, seized on this difference. Tabloids speculated that Jennifer cared more about her career than about motherhood. One notorious headline painted her as a woman who chose fame over family, a claim that stung her deeply. She would later call those stories cruel and inaccurate. But rumors have a way of shaping public perception, and the whispers planted seeds of doubt that never truly went away. Brad, meanwhile, began to feel restless. He spoke later about being stuck in roles that mirrored his own dissatisfaction, characters who looked perfect on paper but felt empty inside. The life he had built with Jennifer was safe, stable, admired by the world. And yet, he couldn't escape the feeling that something was missing. For a man who had everything, he was strangely unfulfilled. In 2004, Brad signed on to star in an action comedy called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The premise was playful, a married couple who discover they're both secret assassins, hired to kill each other. His co-star was Angelina Jolie, already one of Hollywood's most magnetic figures. Known for her intensity on screen and her unconventional life off it, Jolie had a reputation that was equal parts alluring and dangerous. She was a single mother to Maddox, outspoken about humanitarian causes, and carried an aura of mystery that fascinated the public. At first, it seemed like just another casting choice. But once filming began, crew members noticed something unusual. The chemistry between Brad and Angelina wasn't just good, it was electric. Their banter, their body language, the way they looked at each other during takes, it felt real. Too real. Gossip spread quickly through Hollywood, and before long, tabloids were running with the story. Brad and Angelina were more than just co-stars. Both denied the rumors. Brad insisted he was still committed to his marriage. Angelina claimed she would never involve herself with a married man. But the whispers refused to die. Paparazzi stalked the set, hoping to catch a stolen glance, a touch, anything that confirmed what everyone suspected. Years later, Angelina would finally admit what had long been obvious, that she and Brad fell in love while making the film. She recalled how she looked forward to going to work every day, how she discovered in Brad a partner who made her laugh and inspired her. For Brad, it was the spark he had been longing for, a sense of passion and possibility that he no longer felt at home. What began as a Hollywood movie soon became the catalyst for one of the most infamous scandals in entertainment history. By January 2005, the inevitable finally happened. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston released a joint statement announcing their separation. Carefully worded, it insisted there was no villain, no betrayal, only two people choosing different paths. They spoke of respect and friendship, of continuing love even as their marriage ended. But the public wasn't convinced. The timing was too close to the rumors swirling around Mr. and Mrs. Smith. To millions of fans, the story was simple. Brad had left Jennifer for Angelina. The narrative caught fire when, just a few months later, paparazzi captured photographs of Brad vacationing in Kenya with Angelina and her son Maddox. The images were undeniable. Brad shirtless and laughing, playing on the beach with Angelina's little boy. For Jennifer, the wound was still raw. For the press, the story was irresistible. The golden couple of Hollywood was gone, replaced by a new one. Jennifer became the symbol of heartbreak. She gave a now-famous interview to Vanity Fair, where she admitted the pain of watching Brad move on so quickly. She spoke candidly about the loneliness, the shock, and what she called his lack of sensitivity. Overnight, she became the patron saint of every woman who had ever been left for someone else. Fans wore Team Jen t-shirts, magazines ran sympathetic cover stories, and her tearful expressions were plastered across newsstands. Angelina, meanwhile, was cast as the villain. Tabloids painted her as the homewrecker, the woman who destroyed America's sweetheart. No matter how much she denied interfering in the marriage, the label stuck. For Brad, the image was more complicated. To some, he was a man who followed his heart. To others, he was the husband who betrayed Jennifer and shattered Hollywood's most beloved marriage. As the dust settled, a new power couple rose from the wreckage, Brangelina. The name alone carried weight, coined by tabloids but quickly embraced by the public. Brad and Angelina weren't just dating, they were building an empire. Together, they became a global fascination, photographed everywhere from red carpets to refugee camps. Their family grew rapidly. Angelina adopted Zahara from Ethiopia. Then together they welcomed their biological daughter Shiloh in 2006. Pax from Vietnam soon followed, and in 2008, twins Knox and Vivian were born. Within just a few years, Brad and Angelina were raising a brood of 6 children, turning their home into a modern-day dynasty. They carefully shaped their image as more than celebrities. Brad and Angelina were humanitarians, photographed visiting refugee camps, donating millions to charity, and using their platform to advocate for global causes. Glossy magazines ran photo spreads not just of movie premieres, but of family outings in New Orleans or humanitarian trips to Africa. To some, Brangelina represented the perfect balance of fame and purpose, the couple who had it all. But the shadows of how it began never fully disappeared. To a significant part of the public, Angelina remained the other woman, no matter how many charitable causes she championed. Jennifer, still beloved, was continually compared to her, every relationship scrutinized through the lens of the past. The Team Jen versus Team Angelina divide lingered for years, a cultural shorthand for betrayal and rivalry. For Brad, though, the Brangelina years seemed to offer what he had long craved: adventure, passion, and a family that gave him deeper meaning. He looked alive again, no longer the restless husband in a picture-perfect marriage, but a man thriving in chaos. Yet even empires built on love and fame are not immune to collapse. For over a decade, Brangelina reigned as Hollywood's ultimate power couple. But what began with irresistible passion would eventually collapse under its own weight. In 2016, Angelina Jolie filed for divorce from Brad Pitt, citing irreconcilable differences. The news shocked the world. Once again, the man who had walked away from one golden marriage was facing the end of another. The split was far more brutal than his divorce from Jennifer. Custody of their 6 children became the centerpiece of a bitter legal battle. Allegations of arguments on a private plane, of Brad's struggles with alcohol, of tempers flaring in front of their kids, spilled into the headlines. The same tabloids that once worshipped Brangelina now dissected every detail of their downfall. The fairy tale romance that had captivated the world dissolved into bitterness and courtroom drama. For Jennifer Aniston, the irony was impossible to ignore. Years earlier, she had been painted as the victim, the woman left behind. Now, as Brad's second great love story crumbled, public opinion began to shift. Many noted how Jen had managed to preserve her dignity and rebuild her career, while Brad and Angelina were dragged through the mud. Social media buzzed with comments that perhaps Jennifer had been the lucky one after all. Brad himself admitted in interviews that he had battled demons, confessing to drinking heavily and struggling with anger. His perfect image, once the handsome, untouchable leading man, was long gone. Instead, he was a man scarred by choices, publicly reckoning with the consequences. The very passion and adventure he had sought with Angelina ended in chaos, leaving him to confront the wreckage of 2 marriages that had once defined Hollywood. Today, the dust has mostly settled, but the echoes of that infamous love triangle still linger. Brad Pitt, now in his 60s, has rebuilt parts of his life. He speaks openly about sobriety, therapy, and personal growth. His career, though bruised, regained prestige with an Oscar win for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yet despite new roles and new headlines, his legacy will forever be tied to the choices he made in the mid-2000s. Jennifer Aniston has endured as America's sweetheart, though on her own terms. She won acclaim for her work in The Morning Show, proving her dramatic range. Over the years, she and Brad have shared friendly moments in public, most famously a warm backstage reunion at the SAG Awards in 2020. For many fans, that image offered closure, a reminder that time heals even the deepest wounds. To this day, Jennifer remains a symbol of resilience, admired for the grace with which she weathered humiliation and heartbreak under the brightest spotlight. Angelina Jolie continues to command global attention, though her career has shifted alongside her humanitarian work. She is celebrated for her advocacy with the United Nations, her dedication to her children, and her fearless individuality. Yet the label of homewrecker, however unfair, still lingers in the cultural memory. She and Brad remain locked in legal battles over custody, proof that even the most powerful couples can crumble into very human conflict. In the end, the story of Brad, Jen, and Angelina is more than tabloid fodder. It is a cautionary tale about fame, desire, and the cost of chasing passion at the expense of stability. Why did Brad Pitt leave Jennifer Aniston for Angelina Jolie? Because he believed she offered the life he craved. Whether it was worth the price is a question Hollywood is still asking decades later.